Images coming in of that group photograph that you said would be coming in at the moment. As you can see, all the leaders of the SCO grouping over there standing at the moment for the group photograph. In fact, that session just got over. You can see Prime Minister Modi there, just two leaders apart from Chinese President Xi Jinping. While we didn't see any sort of moment of interaction over there. Possibly they just came in to pose for that photograph for the photographers who are present over there. But there is still, again, that likelihood of a pull-aside that could take place inside that session room, as the restricted meeting between the SCO leaders is to begin now that the photograph has been taken. Prime Minister Modi there walking with the other leaders. You can see Chinese President Xi Jinping walking a little ahead. They were separated by two leaders as they stood for that group photograph. Geeta, those images are coming in right now from Samarkand. If you can just take us through the pictures. I'm not sure you're, of course, able to see those pictures, but there is, of course, that grouping that's standing of 8 leaders at the moment. On the one hand, it's pretty much like we had seen the picture of the SCO grouping at the previous meeting, where Prime Minister Modi stood at one end and the Pakistani Premier, this time of course Shehbaz Sharif, stood at the other end, and Chinese President Xi Jinping at the center alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Well, no taking away from the fact that the Chinese president in this part of the world is very important. The only leader who was received by the Uzbek president himself. Having said that, if you're talking about the group photo, Paulami, it is very professionally done nowadays. I mean, it always has been, but certainly way more now. So when they're walking towards that space, that area, the designated area, they could maybe have a conversation. But primarily what they do is focus on going and standing at the designated position. Every leader is given their designated position. It's either numbered or there's a sign saying that this is where they have to stand. So it's all, they do not go and stand of their own volition or will. It is a designated space that is given. So if you see the group photo, you will realize that there is a reason why a particular leader is placed where the leader is placed in the group photo. And so the group photo has taken place, and we've not seen any visuals of any sort of conversation or even an acknowledgement of presence between leaders from the Chinese side or the Indian side, or for that matter, the Pakistani or the Indian side. But yes, like I've been saying, a restricted format will be closed door with no cameras, a 1+1, leader plus interpreter. So it is going to be very interesting to see whether, and if news trickles in, to see whether if there was indeed a conversation on the sidelines of that restricted format. We are also, then after the group photo, there's going to be another group photo after the restricted dialogue, and then the 1+5, which is the delegation level talks, the leader and the 5 members of the delegation, which would include on the Indian side, Foreign Minister Jaishankar, Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra, division officers of a Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and probably the interpreter who sits beside the Indian Premier or any head of state who's present at that meeting. So the 1+5 format will take place, and then a lunch hosted by the Uzbek president. So that again is another opportunity where they will come face to face. We do not know how the seating is going to be at the table during the lunch, but that certainly is going to be important and quite interesting. Who is going to be seated where, and whether if they're going to be too close to ignore. So opportunities are there, but the intent, certainly we do not know whether if it is a politically viable opportunity either for India or China, or India or Pakistan. I can tell you this, that on the Indian front, if they meet, it will be news. If they do not meet, it will be a bigger news. But for China has too many fronts open right now. The confrontation at the Taiwan Strait and the pressure.
Geeta there, of course, bringing us all of those live updates from Samarkand. She, of course, taking us through that group photograph which has now been taken of all the leaders of the SCO and that restricted session at the SCO Summit.